Hey guys, my name is Haley and welcome to my channel. Today, as you read the title, we're doing a summer book wrap-up. So everything that I read from June 1st up until today, which is August 20th. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I think I have 9 books today, but we'll see. And so my first one we're gonna start off with is Nice Girls. One of my favorite tropes is like scorned women, like women doing anything that they need to do to get what they need. And so Nice Girls, I'll read some of the summaries out of these for you. So a pulse-pounding, razor-sharp debut with the emotional punch of Luckiest Girl Alive and All the Missing Girls. It's essentially just about a girl that gets kicked out of her school for attacking another girl as she's in her senior year of college, and she ends up wrapped up in this mystery in her hometown of disappearing girls. Probably rate this one, if we're gonna go out of 10, maybe like an 8 out of 10. It was really good. There was a twist in it. Wasn't my favorite book I ever read, but would still recommend. And then let's see. All right, so next we have The Wind-Up Bird Chronicles by Haruka Murakami, and this is my second book I read from him. He is described as a like dreamlike writer, and his writing is really good. I'm gonna be honest, I started reading this in December of last year, and it took me about 6 months to read it, not only because it's a thick boy, it's about 600 pages, but in January when I was reading it, there's a really intense scene of a man getting skinned alive, like 150 pages in. And after I read that, I had to put it down for a couple months because it was a bit much for me, right? Not everyone's cup of tea, so if it's not yours, just know that. And sorry, it's following this man who his wife has gone missing, and so the entire book is just him trying to find his missing wife. But yeah, very dreamlike. There's always a hint of the supernatural. In this one, it kind of keeps going back and forth between the past and the present, using different side characters to get back into the past. So whether that is just random older men that were in war that he had known through other family members, or random girls that he meets talking about their lineage back in the past. So it goes a lot through old wartime in Japan up into the present of him trying to find his missing wife. All right, and then the next one, Raymond Carter, What We Talk About When We Talk About Love. So this is a collection of short stories. I have been really into these recently. This was actually I'm part of a book club, and we meet once a month, and so this was our book club pick one month, and I'm not gonna lie, this was not my favorite book. It's written by a man, and you can tell that it's written by a man because in most of the short stories, if there is a woman involved, it is not the main character. She is getting abused or she is getting killed. Not my favorite. There are good writing aspects in it, and I felt a little bit like I was missing something when I went on Goodreads and it just had these glowing reviews. I think a lot of people that are in some type of like literary program, like their master's or PhD or what maybe, are really into that. I personally wasn't. I know I wasn't the only one in book club who was not Raymond Carver's biggest fan. So the stories were interesting though. It's just not my favorite when women are constantly getting abused in them. And then after that, so one book that I don't have with me because I love to give my books out to friends and family if they're interested, and I will do my best to put it on the screen, but I'm very new here because it is super popular. It's a memoir by the lead singer in Japanese Breakfast, and it was really good. She is a great writer. It's following mostly during the time of her mom having cancer before her mom passes away. And it's really good. As you can tell, you're gonna cry. It is very sad. I will say it was hyped up to be like one of the best books I've ever read. Did I think it was the best book that I ever read? Probably not. Did I still really like it? Yes. I really like memoirs recently. All right. And then next we have The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Taylor Jenkins Reid also is the author of Malibu Rising, Daisy Jones and the Six. And so I have read Daisy Jones and the Six, so this is my second book by her. And I loved it. Phenomenal, wonderful. I don't know why I had put off reading it for so long until we had to read it for book club last month. It is so good, and I wasn't expecting to like it that much. Definitely wanted to cry during parts of it, but it, again, is going through the seven husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and definitely following like the lifestyles of the rich and famous, her rise to fame and how she got there. I love her personal twist, and then there is the twist of the interviewer, the journalist that is writing Evelyn Hugo's story for her. So there's really two big twists. My personal favorite was Evelyn Hugo's personal twist in her personal life. It was just chef's kiss, so good. And then another book that is currently with one of my friends is All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. And so let's go through the synopsis of this one. So it's been 10 years since Nicolette Farrell left her rural hometown and her best friend Corinne disappeared from Cooley Ridge without a trace. Back again to tie up loose ends and care for her ailing father, Nick is soon plunged into a shocking drama that reawakens Corinne's case and breaks open old wounds long since stitched. And so what was really interesting about this book is it starts off in the present. Part 1 is maybe like 30 something pages long, and then part 2, which is a majority of the book, goes back in time. So it starts at, you know, day 14 or day 13, and then every chapter is the day before. And so that was just really interesting, really unique. It had me questioning and like going back to certain parts. I was like, did we really not talk about this before? It was just such a unique writing style. It was so good. And then part 3, you jump back to the present day and then you go back into the future. So it's a little bit of a murder mystery, and there is a second girl that goes missing that kind of reawakes Corinne's case, and definitely would recommend. Okay, but if you're into drama and thrillers and trying to figure out who the killer is, you're definitely gonna like this book. All right, and then next, so another genre I've been really into recently is Greek mythology, and so we have Electra by Jennifer Saint. Similar books that I've read to this, I've read Circe and I read Ariadne, and so if you like both of those books, you're definitely gonna like this one. It's really popular now for people to start expanding upon smaller characters' roles in Greek mythology and kind of giving them their whole long backstory that they definitely deserve. And so Electra, unlike Ariadne and Circe, is following 3 main characters instead of just one. So you have Helen of Troy, you have her twin sister, that's one of the main characters. Her twin sister's daughter, Electra, is another main character, and then you have a princess of Troy as the 3rd main character. And so this book starts a little bit before the war between Troy and Sparta, and then goes all the way through the war and then to after the war. This was really good. I always forget how traumatizing Greek mythology is, in the sense of there's a lot of bloodshed, a lot of families killing each other, family betrayal, but it was definitely really good. Really interesting to see different points of view throughout the same war and the same timeline. All right. And then after that, we have another collection of short stories called American Housewife by Helen Ellis. So I had never heard of this before until I went into, we have a local store called the Book Exchange where you can trade in your books for store credit and then get a bunch of secondhand books, and I love it. It is so good. Yes, and then the cover is beautiful. It definitely made me want to get it even more. And so all of the short stories are revolving around American housewives, and some of the stories definitely hit the way they needed to, others did not. For the most part, I really liked all of the stories that I read. You're never going to be in love with every single story you read in a short story, but I think most of these were very interesting. They had the drama, they had the intrigue, and all of that. All right. And then the last book we're going to get into is Jeanette McCurdy's new memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died. I actually still have a little bit left to go in this, but it's so good. Jeanette McCurdy is a phenomenal writer. I don't know what I was expecting, but her writing is so good. And then if you're buying this book, you know you're getting a lot of childhood trauma. Definitely makes you want to cry a lot, but she's such a good writer. It's so great to hear her story and her side of things, and for her to actually get the healing that she needs. But yeah, definitely sad. Definitely make sure you're in a good headspace when you're reading this book, but I would recommend because she is such a good writer. Definitely a 10 out of 10. All right. And then that is all the books that I've read from June 1st until August 20th. If you also like to read the same types of books as these and there are any that you think I would be interested in, please drop them down below because I would love to read them. And thank you so much for watching.